Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a look at the differences between Insurgency and Battlefield 4 Hardcore. If you're someone who likes to play Hardcore in BF4, then I think you just might like Insurgency, and hopefully this video will explain why. On the surface, these two games have a lot in common, but there is a few differences which make the games play out very differently. In general, both games are modern military shooters with similar mechanics, but they're both built on very different engines and they end up feeling very different to play. The first thing I should point out is that movement in Insurgency is smooth, but it doesn't feel quite as fluid as it does in BF4. There's no vault mechanic, and the game is pretty unforgiving when it comes to moving around obstacles, and this means that you often get stuck in doorways or trying to jump things. You also don't have a parachute like you do in BF4, which means jumping from a significant height will very likely get you killed. None of these things really make Insurgency less enjoyable, but they are different from BF4 and they're things that you'll need to get used to. Another big difference between Insurgency and BF4 is the size of the maps, and I guess you could probably compare them to something like COD 4. There are some long-range maps, but in general Insurgency is all about close-quarters infantry combat, and you won't find huge BF4-style maps or vehicles in this game. The spawn system in Insurgency is a bit different as well, and instead of spawning on teammates or capture points, you spawn in waves up the back at your team spawn point. Unlike in BF4 though, you have to wait for waves to come in, which can take up to a minute sometimes, and this means staying alive in Insurgency is a lot more important than in games like BF4 or COD. One of the other main differences with Insurgency that I'm sure most of you BF4 players are wondering about is the gunplay mechanics. In Insurgency, all of the guns create muzzle flash and smoke that's hard to see through, and they also have a fair bit more recoil than the guns do in BF4. Like in BF4 though, different types of guns in Insurgency play differently. For example, LMGs are best used in a passive role with attachments like the bipod. The difference in Insurgency though is that you sort of have to change your playstyle, because between the longer ADS speed and the higher recoil, you definitely don't want to be running and gunning with every weapon. Now, the last main difference between these games that I should point out is probably the health and damage system. Like in BF4 Hardcore, players can't see their health on screen, but in Insurgency, once you take damage, there's no way to get back to full health. Most of the guns in Insurgency kill in 1 or 2 shots anyway, so the general rule of thumb is try not to get shot to begin with. You can protect yourself with body armor to some degree, but in general the time to kill in Insurgency is a bit lower than in BF4 Hardcore, and this will make you play a lot more passively. So in general, is Insurgency worth playing for fans of the hardcore mode in BF4? Well, I'd have to say yes it is, but it does take a bit of time to get used to because you can't exactly make too many mistakes in this game. Insurgency is all about patience and thinking about how you're going to approach an objective before you get there. I guess this also applies to Battlefield to some degree, but even if you are a veteran BF4 player, you'll probably get wrecked the first time you play Insurgency, and I'd say that when you get back to BF4, you'll be a lot better player because of this. But anyway guys, if you haven't already played Insurgency, then definitely think about picking it up because it's well worth it. You really don't need a high-spec PC to run it, and it's not expensive on Steam to begin with, so as long as you've got a relatively new computer, I'd definitely give it a go. I'm really enjoying this game, so if you'd like to see more of it on this channel, make sure to let me know, and make sure you hit that like button. As always though, if you like what you see, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. But until next time, see you later, and have a good one.